Talk about the PvP aspect that you're adding to the new expansion. Will there be new battlegrounds, new arenas, or anything like that?
There will be both of those. We'll also have this thing called World PvP, which is going to be a really interesting uh, feature, basically. So if you remember back the days of Alterock Valley, we're going to have a staging ground called Asheron, right off the coast of Tanan Jungle, where the Dark Portal is. This island is basically going to be kind of constantly under siege on both sides for PvP. So you'll have Horde and Alliance kind of going at it back and forth and trying to gain ground in that area so that they can kind of own that space. But it'll be a pretty epic battle. It'll be continuing for hours and hours, and a lot of players will enjoy doing that.
You guys are also doing some graphical changes and visual changes to the game as well. Can you go into detail about that?
Absolutely. So you've seen World of Warcraft kind of evolve over the number of years into more and more beautiful looking zones. Mists of Pandaria was a great example of that. So we have some of the best zones we've ever had in that expansion. And we're continuing that on into Warlords of Draenor. So the zones are going to be incredible. The zones are going to be really beautiful. In addition, we're doing the player character upgrades, right? So the player characters are something that we hold very dear to our heart, and we really wanted to keep the soul of the existing player characters. We know that players themselves see this as an extension of their own personalities and their own kind of personas. So we put a lot of care, a lot of love into that. Went to the nines on polygons and animations and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be really cool when we see those come to life.
You guys are also doing it like literally a ton of little changes, such as quest items no longer take up inventory space. Can you go into detail about those little things that you're changing as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're really trying to make it a streamlined experience for players, right? We don't want it to be this cumbersome thing anymore. We want to be able to kind of give players the ability to look through their bags, look through their inventory, make it an easy experience. We're trying to also move forward with some of the class changes that we're going to do for Warlords of Draenor. You can expect kind of less of the class changes and stuff, so whether every time you log in there's something changed, whether your ability has plus or minus 2%, there's going to be a lot less of that. And more about kind of the big kind of epic moments of when you get an item, it's going to feel like something really important. And we might add a tertiary stat to some of these things to where you get things like sturdiness or avoidance, speed that kind of stacks and stuff like that. But we'll make that as part of the item and not something that you really have to worry about, like, oh, I got this item and now I got to go reforge it and gem it, enchant it and all that stuff. We're kind of taking a step aside from all that and making it feel just like more of a streamlined experience.
Now, from a designer standpoint, there's no new class, there's no new races. Why is that for this expansion in particular?
Well, we felt like we wanted to really focus on the content and the story that we have, and we feel like we have a good array of classes and races right now. So one of the things we want to do is just make sure that those are really solid and that the content is there and the time that we're spending can go into the actual zones and player progression and the garrisons and all that kind of stuff. So we're adding a lot of content in terms of the expansion itself. But players or races and classes is stuff that we kind of put on hold for this time.
And WoW's been around for almost 10 years. What makes you think players keep coming back for more?
That's a great question. I think that a lot of it has to do with the social bonding, the social experiences that people have had. We've seen at BlizzCon today some of the magical experiences and memories that people have made over the years playing this game. So we think it's something that is really the glue that kind of holds it all together. And the characters are very compelling, the world is very compelling, and we'd like to continue just adding that over and over.
What's the thing you're most looking forward to people experiencing with this expansion?
Oh gosh, I think there's probably a number of things. I'm really excited about the garrison feature. I think that's going to be really cool. Players are going to have a really good time with that. And I can't wait to kind of get the new player models rolled out and so that players can actually bring those to life in a way that hasn't been done before.
Do you guys have a release date for the expansion yet?
We do, but we're not really open to talking about that just yet. So we're hoping for sometime next year, and that's kind of the extent of where we're at.